Welcome to Super Movie Brothers. Let's start the show.
This is a podcast on the Podfix Network. You can check out more shows like it at podfixnetwork.com.
Welcome to Super Movie Brothers, episode 141. I'm your host, Super Movie Brother Dave.
And I'm your host, not Super Movie Brother Jay, but Dave's wife, Lauren.
Yeah, we had to say goodbye to Jay for this week.
It's just a week. Oh, yeah. I was under the impression.
No, it's just this week. But he was super shady about why he's not here, and I'll have to catch up with him next week about why, because I was like, hey man, for next week I'm thinking we do this, we do that, we do this, and he's like, yeah, I'm not going to be there next week, and I'm like, why? He goes, oh, just too much stuff to do.
By the way, happy birthday, Jay.
It is Jay's birthday. Happy birthday, man.
Woo. But yeah, I was wondering the same thing. Why isn't he coming? And then you're like, something with the girlfriend. I'm like, an entire week though? He can't do anything? He's been dating this chick for what, month?
I don't know.
Months?
That's kind of like spoilers because I haven't gotten Jay in the hot seat for a Patreon episode for him to talk about this relationship.
Right.
So we've been keeping it away from the listeners, but you just let the cat out of the bag. So
he's not dating anyone. I don't know anything about anyone.
You're like that person who watches the Avengers Endgame trailer and ruins everything.
I am just a guest tonight. He did not give me any rules. He didn't tell me what I can't talk about. If this was girl and girl, I'd be like, listen, don't tell this. We're not going to talk about this because we're going to be around this person. We can't talk. So you're doing it all wrong. Not my fault.
This show would be far more popular if it was girl on girl.
Oh, no, that's not what I meant. Jesus, David.
All right, so what were we up to this week?
It's been 1 week since you looked at me. Cocked your head to the sides and I'm angry.
Now, this is kind of different because normally I tell Jay what I was up to. He tells me what he was up to, and then I kind of make fun of him for what he did. But we did the same thing.
We did.
Because we do everything together.
Not really.
And for the most part, other than work, everything we do is pretty much together.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, because we're married, and that's kind of how that shit
apparently
works.
we don't watch This Is Us anymore together, so.
No, because I did change our recording night because Monday nights are just too rough for me. I can't record on Monday nights because I'm waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, driving the kid out to East Bumblefuck, Pennsylvania, dropping her off, and then driving back, working all day, and then coming home, and then I would immediately have to start doing show notes, telling Jay what to do and what to say, and it's just too much work.
But don't worry, Logan, Daddy loves you.
Well, that's why Logan takes precedent over the show,
right.
And so I'm making sure that I get her to school on time.
So there you go, Jay. You have been kicked down the list.
No, he was usurped years ago by you.
Good answer.
But what did we do this week? Where did we go? What did we do? What happened for us this week?
Let me think. Oh, that's right. We were celebrating our anniversary, our second anniversary. Wedding anniversary was March 10th. We couldn't celebrate March 10th because we had Logan, and we didn't want to give her up so that we can do stuff. We only get every other weekend with her, sometimes more throughout the months, depending on what's going on. So normally when we have Logan, we're not making plans unless Logan is part of our plan.
It's usually about Logan,
and
like if we go somewhere.
That is an agreement usually I even say, because I know sometimes you're like, let's just go sneak out to a movie maybe, or go do this for a couple minutes. I don't like to do it. I want to make sure she gets all her daddy time, all her Lauren time, because I am the best stepmom ever. So I don't like to do stuff.
You're the best when she's 5. When she's 16, you're going to be a horrible thunder cunt. Like, she's going to hate you.
That, or I could always be best friend, stepmom, and I hate my goddamn parents. Ever think about that?
It's true. Well, so anyway, the way we celebrated was we went to Baltimore, which is kind of like, it wasn't our first date, but we went to Baltimore.
As our first trip together.
It was like our first trip together.
Right.
So I was like, oh, let's go to Baltimore again. Boy, was this trip different.
It was.
So the first time we went, we got epically wrecked, like the night that we were there.
And we were also there during the week weekday.
During the weekday, right. So we were getting served a whole lot faster. And then we had to walk like 2 miles back to our hotel. And you gave up like halfway and you sat by the harbor. And I had to sit by the harbor with you. And it was like 32 degrees. We're sitting by salt water. It's fucking freezing.
And I'm not feeling a thing. Yeah. So just so your listeners are aware, when I get drunk and I don't want to do something anymore, I will give up. I will stop. Normally it's walking. I will stop and I will sit there. And lucky for me, I have Dave, who is willing to not leave me behind.
Yeah.
And I also have wonderful friends
who
have never left me behind.
Yeah, I threaten to leave you behind, but I never do. So anyway, that ended with eventually me having a nosebleed in the shower, then passing out drunk and naked on the.
Was that when I threw up on the way home? Like we were almost home, and I'm like, pull over.
No. That was New York. That was coming back from duty in Mon in New York. We had to pull over on the New Jersey Turnpike, and you had to throw up.
Oh, I'm thinking about getting off of Route 13, or I'm sorry, getting off of 95 into Bristol, and we had to pull over.
No, that was
could have been a different time.
That was a different night. That was the night you made out with Gina.
Don't say that. Nothing happened.
Anyway, so this time we go down. Well, the reason we went down, not only was it our anniversary, but it was also St. Patrick's Day, and they just opened a Guinness brewery down there.
So much fun.
So it's the Guinness Open Gate Brewery in Maryland. So we went down there for the Saturday celebration for St. Patrick's Day. But we had a whole night before that to go out.
Right.
And we went out, and we didn't get epically wrecked, but we got toasty. We got pretty toasty.
I was hungover, and
you were
hungover. Awful.
And then we go to Guinness the next day, and it was weird because it wasn't a blast at first, right? We're just kind of like milling around, getting a feel for it. Then we start playing Jenga, and that's like our icebreaker anytime we go anywhere.
Right.
If there's like yard Jenga, like those just big wooden blocks, we always play. And that place was a lot of fun. And I got to say, having Guinness straight from the tap at a brewery that it's brewed at is hands down the only way that you can really truly enjoy Guinness.
And I personally, other than having their stout, obviously their world known stout, I've never had any other Guinness except the one time at the bar where they mixed the stout Guinness with like a cider,
a black and tan.
Right, exactly. So I've never really had any other I'm sorry, you said black and tan, I'm thinking Yingling. Sorry, much better Guinness. I've never had any other Guinness before, and I was drinking their blonde that they had, which was really good.
Right, which is something that they brew that's kind of new because they kind of brew it there at the Open Gate Brewery, and then they have like you don't get this in stores a lot because I get the feeling like they're limited releases, seasonal releases. Right. They have like 3 IPAs that they make, and all of them were really good. Yeah. Especially like the one that I got like a tall glass of was fantastic. Man, they're just true craftsmen. Like that's just what it comes down to.
They really
are. Craftsmen. And then of course we got pictures with all their mascots with a seal that's balancing the
when he
the
says
draft
we,
on its head.
he means
me.
He.
Yeah. Me.
Because he really wanted to take pictures with statues of crabs and seals drinking beer.
But my favorite part of the weekend, and this is something that me and you do because we're actually a couple that hangs out a lot, talks a lot, so we already know everything.
What happens when you live together?
We already know everything about each other, so it's not like we're gonna go to the bar and find out new things about each other. Like so. We always just play a game where we just look around at other people at the bar and we just start figuring out what's their situation. What's going on here?
Right. And I almost lost my biscuits at that one bar.
Which one? The first bar we went to?
The one with the very proactive feminist women.
The 2 girls that we couldn't figure out whether they were lesbians who were together or whether they were 2 girls trolling for dick. And then the one girl, like, she casually, like, lifts up her arm, but super not casually, like, totally on purpose.
Like, I want you to see this.
And shows, like, the Chewbacca that lives under her armpit.
God.
And it's just hair there.
Listen, ladies, I am all for girl power, woman power. Great. No big fucking deal. But please, shave your armpits. There was a study recently that there has been less crabs from people because everyone's shaving now.
Yeah.
So there's been less, income with friggin' people showing up with crabs.
Fair enough.
But that's how you get crabs, people. And I'm sorry, as much as you shampoo underneath your disgusting hair arms, it's going to smell the second you sweat. Because your sweat isn't dripping off. Well, some of it's dripping off your long
You smell like a man. I mean, you're just going to smell like a man.
Oh, disgusting.
The second I saw that girl, I was like,
and then from there on out, I can smell her from across the bar. Ugh.
But in the end, we didn't think that they were gay because they were totally trolling for dick with those three guys that they were talking with, which was super weird. And then there was like the sad group of girls in the back left-hand corner where like the one girl, like she was super try hard with like every guy.
With every guy. She was trying to find the one that would finally stick.
Yeah. And then like stick it in her is what is more like it. So and like her body language was like, she has this drink in her hand, she's nursing the drink, but the straw is always in and around her mouth. Yeah. And like she was always making sure like while she was like not talking that like the straw,
they're watching her play with her straw.
Is like very phallic in her mouth. And I was just like, you are subconsciously setting up all the right signals, and either they're too dumb to realize that you're a sure thing, or they know something that we don't about you, and it might be crabs.
It might be. You never know.
I don't know if they're Alaskan king, but they feel huge.
But none of the guys, unfortunately, it didn't seem like any of the guys were really stuck. One guy, I know, she cornered him for a little bit, and then he finally found an out. Maybe she looked down for a second. He was like,
we never got the end of that story. We ended up just leaving.
We left, yeah.
But the best part, my favorite part of our little weekend together in Baltimore, not only do I just love that city, that's like, other than like going down to Philly and stuff like that, like that's hands down like my favorite city to visit. Right. I think there's just so much to do around that Inner Harbor area, and there's just some great bars and great food.
But let's both admit, it's better without all those people.
It's better without those people. And also stay in the Inner Harbor area if you travel too far. Super high murder rate, like really high.
Yeah.
Anyway,
good shady if you turn the wrong corner.
We went to Roy's Hawaiian Fusion, and we had this plan because it was Saturday night. We were going to go. We were going to eat dinner, and then we were going to go and hit the bars again.
We were literally walking around the harbor after we were dropped
trying
off.
To find the bar, right?
And we're like, oh, we got to hit this spot. We're hit this spot. Dave's like really excited.
I am.
And I'm playing it cool. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So at dinner, like
Mind you, still hungover.
I'm watching your face, and I was just like, after we finished eating dinner, I was just like, you don't want to go anywhere, do you?
No, that's not what happened, everyone. Nope, not what happened. Dave was like, I don't want to go out. And I'm like, no, listen, I really don't want to go out either, but I'm going to stick with it if you want to. If you want to hit a bar or two, I will stick with it.
Yeah, but you're going to be miserable. That's why I was like,
okay, people, this was a different story on Saturday night. He is making me out to be like, oh, God, she didn't want to go out. No.
Hair of the dog cured me on Saturday. Once we went to Guinness and I started drinking,
He's lying,
I was fine. I didn't have
different
a hangover
story
anymore.
On Saturday night.
But we had a fantastic dinner. And
oh my gosh, food was so
really good. And I had eaten a lot, so I was like, all right, if I drink, it's going to be a struggle at least just to put the alcohol in my stomach, because the stomach is there's no more room in this inn. Go have your baby Jesus somewhere else. So I was just like, all right, well, we can just go back to the hotel room. And you jumped on that. Like you were just like, yes, immediately.
People, it was a late dinner too. We had a really late dinner.
Yes, let's go. So we do go back to the hotel, but we did have some fun in Anthropology, which is like this super high-end store. Yep. And we played The Price is Right.
We sure did.
Me and you picked out different objects to figure out what the price was. Turns out home decor, super affordable. Clothes,
not so much.
Super not affordable.
And the uglier the outfit,
the more expensive.
That's right. It is.
Except for that one jacket. That was a really nice jacket.
It was a nice jacket.
If you said you wanted that, I would have been like, fine, pull it from the savings. But yeah, $180 jacket that looked like it wouldn't even hold up in like the lightest of breeze.
No, well, that's the one thing when you pay that much money for those clothes, they will last you. That's why someone like us who shops at Kohl's, we shop at Kohl's almost every other summer because
Kohl's, Target, whatever.
Yeah, because the clothes eventually will fall apart. Not knocking Kohl's, not knocking Target. Love them both.
Yeah. So, and then we drove home. We got our doggies back, and that was our little weekend adventure that we got to have.
Remember, we were driving home, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we just crossed into Pennsylvania. Yeah, I just want to see my puppies. I want to hold them because I didn't get to say goodbye to them. Dave packed them up and had them away before I even got home Friday night, and I was so excited. And Dave goes, whatever, you want to leave them there for a couple more hours? And I'm like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, just
You're an awful person.
I was trying to have a little sex, but you were gonna have the dogs to take care of. You were gonna be all about that, but whatever.
We spent the entire weekend together. Let me see my dogs. Jesus.
All right, let's head over and let's find out. What are you watching?
What are you watching?
What are we watching?
I think he's trying to watch some illegal channel.
Always watching.
No, go past this part. In fact, never play this again.
Even though we spent most of the time together, I still ended up watching different things than you watched, which is nice. We have different things to talk about. So what were you up to watching this week? What did you get around to seeing?
So I was able to finally watch Christopher Robin, since it's now on Netflix, and I liked it.
Or the trash version of Winnie the Pooh, as Logan was telling me when I wanted to put it on.
What?
Oh, she doesn't like the way Winnie the Pooh looks.
Oh.
She has a very specific way that Winnie the Pooh looks in her head, and this disgusting ragdoll creature.
Up. So in the beginning, yes, he looks a little raggedy because he's still young. He's not quite developed yet. He does get
just
clean
hear
and
me out.
Yellow.
In Logan's mind, the picture that they had up on Netflix when I highlighted it, like the palette was all brown. Pooh was brown. Tigger was brown. The ground was brown. Everything was very brown.
No,
so Logan thought that Winnie the Pooh looked like trash, and that's what she told me. And I was like trash Pooh, and she's like, yeah, trash Pooh.
Oh no, no, he does get yellow, and he gets his little red shirt, and he's adorable, and he carries around his little red balloon. It's adorable.
And you really enjoyed it because Jay watched it and talked about it last week, and he didn't really enjoy it.
And what you told me when you mentioned Jay watch it, because again, he doesn't give me any insight on what I should be watching, or hey, spoiler alert, don't watch this because everyone heard Jay talk about it already. But you mentioned Jay said he compared it to Paddington, and because he watched Paddington, he can't watch this because Paddington was so good.
Jay's never that eloquent. I compared it to Paddington, and Jay agreed, and that's how I tried to end the conversation because he was going nowhere with his discussion.
I see. Because my argument was, that's me saying, I didn't like Captain Marvel, which I did, because I liked Wonder Woman so much.
Now, the argument for this movie is that the characters that existed in the 100 Acre Woods have always been imaginary, and you're always supposed to be seeing them through the eyes of basically like a child, and that's his imagination that is creating these characters. And I'm hearing that this kind of is like, nope, they are 100%.
They are 100% real, because other than Christopher Robin in his...
So Ewan McGregor's not having a midlife crisis.
No, he's...
He is.
Right,
he is having a midlife crisis.
Well, he's stuck because he was forced to grow up at a much younger age than what you're supposed to do. He was sent off to boarding school, like what they do in England. They send their kids off to boarding school.
Hogwarts, yeah.
Right, exactly. He loses, there's a death in the family, so now he's forced to grow up a little bit faster, help take care of the family, pick up the slack. And then he gets married, goes off to college, gets married. Then he's shipped off to war. He comes home. His wife, has their 2-year-old daughter there. So he was forced to kind of forget about his friends. So now I have to get a job. And,
right. Now, and then all the meanwhile, Pooh and the gang are rotting away in the 100 Acre Woods.
No, that's not what's happening. But what's happening is Pooh Bear comes almost every day, sometimes with Piglet, and he's just looking at the tree where Christopher Robin used to come in. It is terribly sad. It is so sad, and I was so upset. I
miss Christopher Robin, but I miss Honey more.
Yeah, well, Honey is obviously a big thing in it. But eventually, so Christopher Robin meets up with Pooh Bear, which is, I'm just chalking it up to the Disney magic, because suddenly this tree that is normally in Christopher Robin's cottage where he grew up, suddenly it's in his home in London.
And it becomes a portal to the 100 Acre Woods.
And it's the only time it's used.
Okay.
There's no really real explanation except,
Well, we don't have to spoil for everybody.
Okay,
but it's you enjoyed it, and you like Winnie the Pooh. Eeyore's your favorite character. So
I have him tattooed on me.
You have him tattooed on you.
I sleep with him every night. And he had a big part in the movie. There was a good scene, a couple scenes with him and Christopher Robin trying to find the other friends. Oh my gosh. Loved it.
I played a game with people at work to say like what cartoon character do you think you are versus what cartoon character everyone else would describe you as. And like I was talking to this one guy and he goes, I'm totally a Bugs Bunny. I'm a big crack up. And I was like, dude, you're a fucking Eeyore.
Oh no.
And he got like so upset. And he's like, I don't understand. I was like, I just feel like you're your own worst enemy, like all the time.
But is he a adorable blue donkey who looks sad, but you just want to cuddle him?
Middle-aged man, you know.
No. Okay.
Midlife crisis.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Has been long going on. So oh, bother. So you are saying that people should check it out on Netflix.
Yeah, if you haven't, check it out.
It's practically free.
It's a good movie. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
All right. I've gotten a bad review from Jay, a good review from you. I think it's worth it for me to check it out.
Yeah, you would like it.
What else did you watch this week?
I binged Queer Eye season 3 on Netflix. Love them.
Yeah, I originally wanted to watch Queer Eye because I was like, I'm someone who cares about myself-ish. Like, I care about myself like a little bit. So I always like watching it because they have like actually really good tips for guys about like grooming, about how to dress yourself and stuff. So
right, and even if you're not going to one episode they were going to H&M. It's not a high-end store.
No.
But you can find clothes that are
stuff.
affordable, and they show you how to wear them. And
what I like is most of the guys they're helping are short and chubby and round.
Yeah, there's a lot of them this season.
And then so it's like I can kind of watch that and be like, that's how I can dress because I'm short, chubby, round, hairy, disgusting.
And a
beast.
lot of times when they dress them, especially when it comes to their certain shirts and layering, you're like, I already do that. I'm like, look at you.
Yeah.
Who needs a Fab Five?
A lot of those things like where it's like, oh, grooming. And it's like, oh, I cut my hair pretty religiously, like almost like every 2 weeks.
Right.
I trim my beard, like I keep my ears clean. Like,
right.
I know how to shampoo and like keep dandruff out. And so I'm like watching it, I was like, wow. So like where I thought I was like the low bar, where it's like I am just a disgusting human being.
Oh God.
I watched this show and I was just like, I get raised like 8 octaves. I was just like, this is so
Glad
nice.
it makes you feel better.
It does.
But this is
the misery of others.
This is the one show I cry at every single episode, and it doesn't involve animals. It's all people. And
dudes' wives are dying of cancer, and babies are being born, and dudes are immature children not ready for it, and like all this stuff. Or some of them were just social pariahs who just never got along with people.
Yeah, it's just like their stories from not only the Fab Five, but the people that, that they're going to make over. Some of the stories are so awful, so sad, or even, so happy. You're crying for them. And I love it. Jonathan is my spirit animal. I know he's your least favorite, but he's my spirit.
He's not my least favorite. I do love him. He is just the most loud and in-your-face individual.
That's why I love him so much.
And like, it took me 3 seasons, I guess, with you watching it around me to be like, oh God, that man's wearing high heels. Yeah. Like just casually, like he's wearing high heels, except when he's cutting hair because he needs.
No, he was totally in heels cutting hair in some of the episodes.
All right, so is that what you watched this week?
Yep, that's what I watched.
All right, we continued our binge of Game of Thrones. We're finally through season 1. It took us almost like a week and a half, which is rare for us. Usually we just
usually we're
really
better
quick.
at this, but we went to Baltimore and was social.
We really got to step it up with that. So we will obviously be following back up with Game of Thrones stuff when we have that big episode where we review Game of Thrones beers and make Game of Thrones cocktails. But I did get around to watching a new show that was on Netflix. I watched Love, Death, and Robots. And this is an anthology series. Different animators. They each one is a different story. Some of them are up to like, I think the highest one was like 19 minutes, maybe like almost like 20 minutes.
Oh, I don't think I saw any of those 19 or 20 minute
the majority of
ones.
them are in like the 10-minute range. Right. And they do have some stars behind it, voice-wise, but the main thing to take away from it is the creators are David Fincher and Tim Miller. Those are the two minds that put that came together to create this. Tim Miller, the director of Deadpool 1, and then also obviously David Fincher, the great David Fincher, Fight Club, just name.
Because I knew all of this. So thank you for reminding me who these people were.
I was actually pretty impressed with this show because I did not expect to really like it.
Right.
I love animation. However, like for some reason, I always find something whimsical about like animation that's made for children, but also finds a way to appeal to adults and stuff like that. And with something like Love, Death, and Robots, I always worry that it's going to go into a realm that's like too far. You know what I mean? Right. And I will say this, it doesn't go too far really. It's just super comfortable with the animation of the male anatomy.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
more so with female anatomy, which I can't complain about, because me and Jay have always said that it's always about tits and ass, but you know, everyone shies away from a little dong every now and then. So showing it, you know.
Yeah, they took it there, man.
Yeah, they totally fucking went there. But there were some standout episodes for me, ones that I really enjoyed, like 3 Robots, which are like the 3 robots that are going through post-apocalyptic human world.
Right, you made me watch that one.
Just trying to figure it out, and I just love their innate fear of cats, because like the cat starts purring, he's like, "What's it doing?" He goes, "Uh-oh, I think it might be counting down, and if it stops purring, you're gonna explode." It was nice knowing you. Yeah. They just have this lack of understanding of like what we were like. It's just like this Google search. Like if you just Googled like humankind, and like you got like the bullet points of what modern humans were like all about, that's their knowledge of humanity. Right. And it was really funny to like see human nature from the outside looking in. So that one really stood out to me. Another one that really stood out to me was Suits. And it's just kind of like these people who are farmers, but they also protect their farm.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
From invading aliens in these giant mech suits. And I really, really liked that one, just visually. I also liked it just because it was like, you know, big robots blowing up aliens and stuff like that. And it had a pretty interesting ending. And then one that like I really, really liked, and I just liked kind of like the existentialism of it. It was called Beyond the Aquila Rift. And it's kind of about like this spaceship that goes through a black hole. And it ends up at a space station that it knows it's not supposed to be at. And he starts like unraveling this mystery about how he got there. And I think it's not like a twist ending, but like the ending in itself is just it's pretty like horrifying, but also like the way it ends, you're like, I mean, I guess that's really the only choice he had, isn't it? And it's like, it's very macabre. So I really enjoyed that one. I mean, other than that, there wasn't very many other ones that I can point to and say like, God, I really loved that one. Good Hunting was pretty okay. Fish Night was one you watched with me. That was the desert one where the guy just starts swimming in the desert, and you were just like, what the fuck is going on? And I was like, they're not explaining it. It's not good. Ice Age with Topher Grace.
I like that one.
And Mary Elizabeth Winstead. You did like it?
I did like it. I thought it was It was cute, and then it just ended, you know? Like that was that.
Definitely homage to Twilight Zone and stuff like that. So I liked it for that aspect, but I thought it could have been better. And then the one that I think just had like the absolute best like visual graphics, like if this was a video game, I'd be a fucking 100% in on it. It was called The Secret War, and it's about Soviet soldiers who were fighting like the rise of the demons. That one was really good. Like the just the effects in that were amazing, and the blood and gore were just fucking on point.
You didn't like the one with the chick from Orange Is the New Black in her spaceship?
I did like that one. Lucky 13.
Lucky 13. I like that one too. That was good.
It reminded me of Stealth a little bit, where it's like the plane has like its own mind.
Right.
Like but no, I really did enjoy that one too. So there's plenty to enjoy there. If you get a stinker one, just wait 10 minutes. It'll be over.
Yeah, it's over.
But I certainly encourage everyone to check out, you know, Love, Death, and Robots, because I'm really enjoying like these type of anthology series that like are existing because of things like The Outer Limits and The Twilight Zone and stuff like that. And I can't wait for CBS to bring The Twilight Zone back. We're only like a month away from it coming back. Jordan Peele is behind it, and I can't wait, because I didn't like the 80s Twilight Zone so much, or the 90s Twilight Zone. But like you've been around where it's like there's nothing on, and I'm like, Twilight Zone then.
Yeah.
I'll just watch Twilight Zone because it's just such good sci-fi.
Right.
So yeah, I encourage everyone to check that one out. Other than that, what I've been watching it's not really accurate. It's what I've been listening to.
Oh.
So they have The Case of Adnan Syed on HBO. It is a docuseries that is going to follow the case of Adnan Syed and his conviction for the murder of his girlfriend, Ha Min Lee. And she went missing in February of 1999, and her body was discovered in a shallow grave.
Right.
And police kind of followed some loose evidence to him. They ended up gaining a conviction off of the testimony of a friend who aided and abetted Adnan Syed, and he kind of got locked away. And everything so I listen to Serial, which is a podcast, and when I'm talking about it like I just discovered like this new thing.
Right.
It's been around since 2014. It is one of the most critically acclaimed podcasts that has ever existed. It's also one of the highest downloaded podcasts ever, and it's won probably the most podcast awards that you can possibly win.
Okay.
So I went and listened to that again. I remember listening to it back in like 2014, 2015, but this, I never followed back up with it. Now they have 3 seasons. I never followed up on season 2 or 3 when they're not about the same case. They're about different cases.
Oh, okay.
But I went back and listened to this about the case, and it's just kind of like amazing that like someone could be convicted on so little evidence.
Right.
And that's what it comes down to. Serial sets out to disprove that Adnan Syed committed this crime.
Okay.
And in the end, just kind of does more to cast doubt. But the interesting thing is that because of Serial's popularity, the evidence that was discovered by the investigative journalist who was doing that show, it was able to bring evidence to light that would actually get him the chance for an appeal.
Isn't it funny how that always seems to happen with these cold cases?
And there was enough doubt, at least, was cast, and new evidence was brought forth from it that it was enough for him to go in front of a judge again in 2016. Now, what the HBO docuseries that I started watching today was, it basically, was the following up on Serial. So it does retrace a lot of the tread that Serial went through, but it's also bringing to light the new stuff that's been going on with the case. And I'm really, really interested to see where the HBO docuseries goes now, because
Did you finish the...
So there's only 2 episodes available, and I watched both episodes.
So are they going to continue it?
2 more episodes to go.
Oh, okay.
It's just, it's super fascinating. And you know me, I'm really into true crime stuff.
Right.
And I, while I have my degree in forensic psychology and stuff like that, a lot of what I know about the judicial system, about the court system, is that it's fucked up. Like,
oh yeah,
the worst thing that can probably happen to you, other than one of these crimes being committed against you, is for you to be convicted of a crime.
Right.
Because the police don't search for facts, right? Like they
want to find
the
suspect.
The suspect.
They want to get who did what.
And once they have their hooks in you, once they have evidence that points to you, and it's enough evidence to make an arrest on you, which only has to be like 51% sure, right? Like, I'm like 51% sure that like you're the guy that did it. So I have enough to say I could put you in cuffs, and we have to find more evidence then. Then what the police will do from that point on is
build a case around you.
Right. So they will purposely ignore evidence that may exonerate you.
Right.
To then discover evidence that goes against you.
And it sucks because when they do this, whether you come out guilty or even innocent, your life is destroyed now if you come out innocent, because now people are portraying what was said about you.
But even that aside, whether he did it or not is not even really like the case now. The case now is, was there enough evidence in 1999 to convict a 17-year-old kid of this murder? And he's maintained his innocence since 1999. Never once wavered on it. His story has always been the same. Well, his story is, I can't remember. I don't remember.
Okay.
Because he was arrested 3 months after the crime happened.
I get that. I barely remember yesterday.
So you're 17 years old, and there's a police officer in your face, and he's like, where were you on the night of January 23rd?
Right.
And it's
you as a 17-year-old, you're going to remember what day was even January 23rd.
And the way the podcast Serial actually started off was, she went around and asked 17-year-old kids that she knew and other kids, and she was like, what did you do on Friday 3 weeks ago? Oh, man, I don't know. I just kind of like rode around with my friends. But specifically, like, build me a timeline. I don't know. Right. And like, you could do that even with an adult. Like if, God forbid, you're accused of a crime and you're asked to account for where your whereabouts
guilty.
on a Wednesday night, because I'll be like, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Anything.
Like, who's my alibi other than my wife? Which you could be my alibi. No one's going to believe you. Of course you're going to lie for me. But if I'm the one
who's dead, then I can't be your alibi.
Exactly.
Because that's why they're coming after you. Because you maybe.
No, I wouldn't.
Probably not kill me.
I wouldn't kill you. No, I'd kill a perfect stranger just to see how it feels. Anyway, the thing that's going to get used against me, what I just said right there. All right.
This was a joke.
This was just a joke. Lauren, let's head into our listener questions real quick.
You gotta ask yourself the question, do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
It just raises too many questions.
Excuse me, I'd like to ask you a few questions.
The answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything.
All right, so this week's listener question actually came in the form of a caption contest. We were taking pictures of, mainly me, at Guinness Brewery, and they have all these fantastic, like, mascots around.
Right.
And they're, like, artist renditionings of different mascots who were on their beer bottles. So there's, like, the toucans that have been on their beer bottles flying overhead. There was, the giant seal.
Right.
And then, of course, my favorite one was the giant crab who was, like, pouring a beer out for his homies, whatever he was doing.
One drunk girl decided, let me crawl under this guy, and that just started a whole thing.
First off, those statues look super solid. And then when that girl was like putting all of her body weight on it,
was wobbling.
Like the arm was like dipping, and I'm like, oh god, that thing's hollow.
This is how the crab dies.
This is how the crab dies. And I was like, most crabs survive losing a limb and then it just grows back, but not that crab. An artist has to be brought in to fix that crab. But anyway, there was a picture of the seal, and he's kind of balancing a Guinness draft on his nose, and I just like took this picture where I'm kind of like just grabbing the draft, and I'm just kind of like screaming into the air, because most pictures that I'm hamming it up for, I scream into the air. Not in reality, like no one hears me scream. It's just the face I make. So I put it up for a caption contest, and the winner of this caption contest is going to get one of our numerous digital movie download codes that we've had sitting in the loot chest for like ever, and I just got to get rid of them. So these are like little easy ways to get rid of them. So some of these captions are funny, some of them are risque, other ones are a little bit deep thinkers. So I may have to explain some of them to you, but. The first one comes from a face mainly your mother could love, and he has 3 that he actually put up for, and since not that many people responded, I'm going to go ahead and just give him 3 chances.
Okay.
Yeah. So he says the family secret is now yours. So obviously the seal is giving
you the family secret to Guinness, right?
And then the other one is, and I will always love you.
Because obviously you are super excited about that beer, and I see it in that picture.
I think it's more of like the connection me and the seal are having over that beer.
No, I think it's the beer. Like the seal's lifting it up to you.
And then his third one is, we're going to the puzzle place. All right. Paul from the Countdown Pod, he says, now this is like a kiss from a rose. Which
you had to explain that one to me.
So Kiss from a Rose was a song that was sold by the popular R&B singer Seal that was part of the Batman Forever soundtrack.
I guess I might know that song if I hear it.
You definitely would. Then another guy said, I've been to that place. It's awesome.
Obviously, good caption.
Not a caption, but I did send him a picture of the crab, and he goes, whoa, there wasn't a giant crab when I was there. That's awesome.
You got to
Total
see the
jealous.
crab.
All right. Take 2 podcast said, and then he put a gif of Rafiki holding little Simba up. Chris from the More Good at Dead podcast said, this is obviously the seal of approval that Guinness talks about. Curtis on Twitter said, Kevin Costner's Wasted with Sea Lions, because Kevin Costner made Dances with Wolves. I'm going to say this is the cast sequel, Wasted with Sea Lions.
Okay, big fan of that movie.
My Annoyed Side says, Dave's biggest and last mistake.
That's not nice.
And Gerald from 2 Peas on the Pod, the other guy that lost the 1987 movie draft along with me, our hearts go out to you, Gerald, said, ready to suck seal cock like ...
So, Bob, you a rude motherfucker, you know that? You're cute as hell. Like to go down on you, suck you, line up 3 other guys, make like a circus seal.
And I don't like that comment. That's disgusting.
Because, like, seals and walruses have, like, surprisingly massive penises.
I know, but no one's doing anything with them. It's gross.
All right, so of these, which one is the funniest to you? Which one do you think is the most appropriate? Who gets the prize?
So, Chris was a close he's second.
More good than Chris. Podfather.
Yes.
Okay.
But my favorite one was the Whitney Houston one.
All right. So the download code is going to go to a face mainly your mother can love at Nerd Adonis on Twitter. So I'll be reaching out to him and I will have him tell me which of the plethora of movie download codes he would like. And we'll probably try to do another one of these at some point when we get when we actually go places and we do fun stuff. It's a way to bring people to our Twitter because we don't interact with people on Twitter all that much. So coming up next, let's head over and let's get into Trailer Park. Thomas Iannucci, drop that beat.
Poetics, bring the drums in.
Cut the beat and let the music play. No Trailer Park, shout out to Dave and Jay. I don't surf, but it's a newer wave. We've been on since towards God save the right style. I don't wanna flow until I know that the bass drop.
Welcome back to Trailer Park. Since this is me and Lauren's kind of like anniversary episode, I figured we would do a Trailer Park. Like everything's kind of geared towards having you on tonight.
Right.
So we're going to do 2 Disney trailers.
Yeah.
And I figure that these are nice, easy things for you to talk about because I'm not going to get too deep and nerdy, or at least if I do, you get where I'm coming from with it.
Exactly.
So our first one is the full trailer for Aladdin live action film starring Big Willie himself.
They're over there! Get them! Stop! Peace! You 3 guys back there! She's on the roof!
You stumbled upon an opportunity. I can make you rich. Rich enough to impress a princess. What would I have to do? There's a cave of wonders. Bring me the lamp.
Great one who summons me, I stand by my oath, loyalty to wishes 3.
I'm kidding. Watch this.
Watch out! You done wound me up. You ain't never had a friend like me.
Hey, can you make me a prince?
There is a lot of gray area in make me a prince. I could just make you a prince.
Oh, no.
Y'all see my palace?
You look like a prince on the outside, but I didn't change anything on the inside. Showtime.
No, I'm in charge, okay? I say when it's time. Really? I thought a princess could go anywhere.
Not this princess.
Do you trust me?
Don't you dare close your eyes. Hold your breath, it gets better. I'm like a shooting star. I've come so far. Let me share this whole new world with you.
All right, Lauren. What do you...
Goosebumps.
That's really my big question for you is you were not so hot on the little teaser trailer that we got. Neither were me or Jay, really.
Right.
What do you think now after seeing this?
I am so excited. I always trust Disney. I trust Disney to do the right thing, and they did the right thing. Obviously, that teaser trailer wasn't completed, or maybe they thought it was completed, and maybe because of the reaction, I don't know.
The effects look a lot better, right?
It's so much better. And then
there's less of like that. He looks less of like a blue blob, right?
Right,
it
and
seems
now
like
he looks
toned him down a little bit.
Right. He looks more
scenery.
like the genie should look. And one big thing I've always, every time Disney does their live action movies, are they going to sing the songs? And then, Whole New World comes on, and I am so excited.
So this for me, like, where I'm watching it, I'm not watching this trailer and going like, that is in the animated version, right? We see a lot of stuff that's from the animated version, even some lines, like, you know, except I still don't like the way Jafar sounds. Like, bring me the lamp. I want to hear him as the old man.
I know, but
bring me the lamp. I love the way Jafar sounds when he's like that, when he's that old crickety man. But anyway, we see the genie's hand, right? And he does the puppet strings.
And he's doing
dancing.
it, right? Which is from the movie.
From the movie, right. We get a lot of the songs. Like, we get Street Rat. We get Never Had a Friend Like Me.
Right.
And then, of course, later on, we do eventually get A Whole New World, which, you know, probably...
I have just waited the entire night for that one song.
Just like when you watch Beauty and the Beast, you wait for Be My Guest, and you wait for the Belle and Beast dance song. I can't remember. You know, what I was taking away from this was like the new stuff. Like, first off, I thought like a lot of like the Will Smith jokes that were in that teaser trailer, you know, where it was a little cheesy, right? It seemed like super cheesy, like where they ended it and stuff like that. But I kind of like his, where he's kind of like teaching Aladdin. Like, he likes Aladdin enough that he's like, there's a lot of gray area what you're asking. Right. So he throws that prince up there and he's like, I could do that.
Yeah.
Do you want get rid of a wish, right? But like, I think they're going to do a better job of kind of like building a relationship between like Al and Genie.
They
and
have
stuff
like that
that
little heart to heart. Obviously, there's a party going on, probably at the palace after Aladdin is introduced. I'm guessing, and they didn't do all that. It was just, hey, here's Aladdin, this new prince.
But like here, we're seeing
Ali. I'm sorry,
we're seeing like a party scene and stuff like that. And it seems like they're going to be adding a lot of side characters and stuff, and like background characters that you don't see in the animated version, because animation, you know, whether you think this or not now, it's super fucking expensive, and drawing more things moving on the screen means more money.
But I think they're building the relationship between Ali and Jasmine and Aladdin and Jasmine, because there wasn't a whole lot going on in the cartoon. It's like, oh, you met this guy a day ago. Now suddenly you're in love with him?
I think it's important for these films to do that because it's so much different. Our world's so much different than it was in the 90s.
Right.
And especially more different than the original Disney princesses back from the 30s, 40s, and 50s. That I think it's important, especially as people who are raising a young girl.
Right.
It's important to me for these relationships to be meaningful, for them to feel realistic, and for there not to be like a sense that the man is in control, because, or that this entire story hinges on the man's success or anything like that. Because watching, you know, this with my daughter, I don't want my daughter to take away that I just got to find a Prince Ali and everything will be better for me. I just got to find a Beast and everything will be better for me. I don't want that. I like that in these modern versions, they are taking a step further to create more of a character for the princesses.
Right.
And even though we don't get a lot of Jasmine in this, you can already kind of tell that they're going to do something along those lines and make her a little bit stronger of a character. And finally, I just have kind of like a little theory.
Okay.
There's a part where it looks like Aladdin is riding away on the carpet. And he's flying through Agrabah, and there's this giant winged creature chasing him.
Yeah.
Theory. Instead of Jafar turning into a giant snake.
Right.
Rick, hit that sword to that snake. Anyway, it's going to be Iago gets turned into a giant beastly creature who chases Aladdin around. And then we obviously get that scene where like Aladdin's like doing these flips through like the ice caverns, and that's when he gets sent to the Arctic and has to fly his way back. And so there's going to be a lot of
We totally saw the ending of that movie in that trailer.
That trailer's
spoiler alert.
Yeah, when this trailer ends, there's all those fireworks going off, and it's like, oh, that's how the genie ends the movie, when he flies up, when he gets his freedom, he turns into fireworks and goes up and blows up like fireworks. They showed that in this trailer, and I was like, that's where the movie ended, like in the animated version. But I think there's going to be enough different that people like me and you, who obviously grew up watching Aladdin, will enjoy this because it'll be enough different. It'll give us some new things, but I like that it is giving something for new audiences like Logan and other little children to kind of grasp onto. And I know like a lot of people are really against these live action remakes, and I'm not, as long as the experience that I'm getting is worth it. As long as this remake was worth it, as long as the new audience is built, as long as it brings new appreciation.
To go away from what the story was when
Right.
we were growing up. I'm happy. I'm excited. Like I said, Disney is, they're not doing any wrong right now.
Not to mention, the stories can't change all that much in these because they are built on fairy tales that have existed for hundreds of years, most of them. So you can't really get away from the story that much.
Right.
So I am now more looking forward to it. We'll obviously be getting like way more trailers throughout the next couple months while this is still, waiting for release, but I'm certainly more excited for it now than I was
too.
before. I think this really did a good job of righting that ship.
Right.
All right, so next trailer, Lauren, and I don't know if you are as excited for this trailer as I am. It is the first full trailer for Toy Story 4.
Everyone, Bonnie made a friend in class.
She's already making friends.
No, she literally made a new friend. I want you to meet Forky. Hi. Hello. Hi.
He's a spook.
Yes, yeah, I know. Forky is the most important toy to Bonnie right now. We all have to make sure nothing happens to him.
Woody, we have a situation.
I am not a toy. I was made for soup, salad, maybe chili, and then the trash.
Buzz, we've got to get Forky. Why am I alive? You're Bonnie's toy. You are going to help create happy memories that will last for the rest of her life.
Huh? What?
Oh, yeah. Bo? Forky, come on. Bo?
Hi there. My name is Gabby.
We can't stay.
Yes, you can. Boys. Woody, behind
What are you doing here?
you! No time to explain. Come with me.
We need to get back to our kid.
Aw, Sheriff Woody, always coming to the rescue.
Bonnie needs Forky.
Woody, who needs a kid's room when you can have all of this?
Wow. Woody, aren't we going to Bonnie?
We have to find them! What do we do, Buzz?
What would Woody do?
Jump out of a moving vehicle?
Let's go!
Hey, you gotta go.
You've handled this lost toy life better than I could.
Open your eyes, Woody. There's plenty of kids out there. Sometimes change can be good.
You can't teach this old toy new tricks.
You'd be surprised.
Bonnie? We're going home, Forky!
I'm coming!
On my way, Woody! To infinity and beyond!
Don't let Woody leave. Kids lose their toys every day.
I was made to help a child. I don't remember it being this hard.
Woody, somebody's whispering in your ear. Everything's gonna be okay.
All right, Lauren, June 21st, we will get to go to the theaters and see Toy Story 4. Now, seeing this trailer, this full trailer, we saw bits of like Carnival and stuff like that. We didn't get we knew that Bo was going to be in it,
Right.
Based on like a short scene with her and Woody.
Logan
Yeah.
is all about finding Bo Peep.
Well,
like,
because
that's what her thing is.
Because Logan has an obsession with boyfriends and girlfriends, and she's a true romantic at heart, even at the age of 5. So she's all about finding Bo Peep. But what this trailer is kind of sowing a little bit of seeds of doubt: is Bo Peep the best thing for Woody now? I see Woody as like, from this trailer, he's in a midlife crisis almost.
Right.
He's made a transition in his life, and things have kind of gotten stale for him. Maybe again, and he finds lost
to
love.
the point where he's letting Forky
Right.
take Bonnie's 100% interest. He wasn't like that when...
That's true. So he has grown as an individual. But
Right.
what I wonder is, and what I'm equating this to, and I may be taking this too far, but you'll let me know. Divorced dads, like the divorced guys who have access to internet and Facebook, what do you think the first thing they do after they're trying to get back out there in the market? They go to Facebook and they stalk old lovers.
Sure. Okay.
It's kind of like what's going on with Woody and Buzz. Sometimes that old lover is not the person you left. Sometimes they're not the person you want. As they say, someone's whispering in Woody's ear. And even though they show it's Forky,
Yeah, I was going to say, that's all a part of the joke, right? It's
not.
Forky.
It's not. It's Bo. There's something about Bo. She's jaded, she's jilted, and she's trying to show Woody that there's a different life.
Right. Well, Bo is upset because she was donated or sold off to a daycare, to a neighbor,
or to an antique store, like this looks like.
Right. And
with super creepy ventriloquist dolls.
Now, those guys...
Night of the Living Dummy from Goosebumps dolls.
They
all
were
of them.
Scary. They're really scary. I'm afraid to take Logan to see this movie because I'm sure that they were scared the shit out of her.
Gabby was pretty scary to me, too.
Gabby wasn't as bad as those guys. But I feel like Bo Peep, she's like, fuck these kids. Andy gave me up. His sister gave me up. And the person that had me after them gave me up, and so on and so on. And she grew and she built up this wall that I can get by on my own.
One of the things you can tell about her that she's more independent is that, first off, the sheep aren't with her. Number one.
Oh, that's right.
Number two, she shed that overgarment and she's wearing her undergarments more.
But at one point she's in
both. She's in both.
Dress,
we don't know if those are flashbacks because we do see a flashback of Woody and Buzz with Andy. So we don't know if those are flashbacks
You're
or
right.
not. And number two, she separated herself from her lamp. Her lamp is in the window. Bo Peep is not.
You're right.
When Woody walks past that window and he goes and he says Bo and he climbs through the mail slot, it's just a lamp.
It's just a lamp.
Bo's not standing there. He saw the lamp first. And we know that she's a porcelain doll who was attached to a lamp that she was able to detach herself. So there, it's almost like, I don't want to equate it to like a Captain Marvel thing, but it's like Bo Peep has had her own change, right? Her own midlife crisis, where she discovered what it was to be an individual again,
and
to live for herself.
Sees her ex BF boyfriend,
same rat
lover,
race. Same doing
Woody,
the same thing.
And she's like, oh my god,
yeah.
He's really here. I need to get him back to me.
But you're doing the same thing you were doing when we were together before.
Right.
You're not different. You haven't changed. You're still the same old Woody. And she even says it, you're still the same old Woody.
Trying to rescue everyone.
Trying to get back to your kid.
Right.
And here she's left that life. And Woody's kind of seeing this other side, that this is what my life could be. And it seems great. And they've been in this position before, though. Toy Story 3 was, oh my God, we're going to be played with so much. Too much of a good thing.
Yep.
I don't think this movie needed to be made. However, what they're showing me in the direction they're taking it, I feel like they're with their story, they're almost addressing that this franchise is too long in the tooth. They're almost addressing it,
right?
It needs to change, and they are changing it in new ways that are super relatable to the people who have grown up watching it, because you and I are in our 30s now, but we grew up with Toy Story.
Right.
So a story like this about a major change in your life, or seeking that change, or making that leap that's needed for you to grow as a person, it's there in this story. But also the same characters that our kids love are still there too. And
now we have our kids 4 or 5 years old, such as Logan, and she's like, Toy Story 3, there was no Bo Peep.
There's no Bo Peep. First thing she said when she watched that movie with us was, where's Bo Peep? And I was like, how did that character resonate with you so much with how little screen time she got?
Right.
Not a lot of girls in the movies. That's how.
Yeah.
Not a lot of girls. But here, she gets to be prominent.
Yep.
Because the only prominent female before this,
she thinks this movie is about finding Bo Peep.
Right. She's going to be for a rude awakening when it's really about an existential crisis of character.
Do you think she's going to want to make her own Forky?
I hope not.
Will they sell their own Forkies for $20 a pop?
Yes.
Right?
So while watching this, the first thing I was like, wow. So there's also this deep philosophical question that's going on of when does life begin? Right. Was Forky always alive?
Did
his life begin when a child breathed imagination and life into him?
Forky knew what his life was
supposed to be,
but he wasn't supposed to talk or walk around, and he was supposed to just be used to eat soup.
Like the couch you're sitting on right now, if it gained sentience, was to be like, no, this is all wrong. I'm not supposed to be alive. I can now smell and feel all the hot farts that are being punched into me.
And then he jumps out the window.
Puts just a big hole in the wall. Kind of goes on the other side.
What the fuck just happened
When he gets on the other side, oh yeah.
But that's what poor Forky's going through.
But yeah, so there's a lot of it's weird because I watch this with I know I'm watching this with the mind of an adult, and I'm seeing like all these, crisis of character and existential questions and stuff. And it's like, that's an adult's eyes. Like as a kid, Woody and Buzz are just going on another adventure. And this time.
Right. When you as a child are looking at them, they're not
Logan
doing
doesn't
anything.
understand why I cry at Toy Story 3. She doesn't understand it. That like, for me, I'm watching characters that I grew up with accepting death,
just dying,
right. And it then brings into a thought that I'm going to have to be in their position someday.
Oh boy.
Right, I'm going to have to accept my own death someday. I'm going to be in a position where death is
so when that
imminent.
fire's coming up,
right,
you're just going to accept it.
Exactly. So for me, like watching this, I'm just like watching that. It's like twofold. I'm watching characters I love potentially meet their doom,
and eventually it'll be you.
And eventually it's me. Which is where most human minds would go, I think. I don't know. And then immediately, like, Pixar breaks the tension by having the aliens pull them out with the claw and stuff like that. And then I have that super weird, like, I'm crying, but I'm laughing. And then I get that lump in my throat. And it's like, but Logan doesn't, she looks at me and she's like, did you stub your toe? Like, what's wrong, you little bitch?
Yeah, right. Girl, Dad, be a man.
I hope by the time Toy Story 6 rolls around, Logan's somewhere around the age of like 15, 16. I'll take her to see it and I'll be like, you crying now?
If she is at the age of 15, 16, and she's like, oh my God, they're accepting death. I get it now. There's an issue.
One of the things I noticed about this trailer, not only like with Forky and stuff like that, Don Rickles has passed.
Right.
And he was the voice of Mr. Potato Head.
Right.
Mr. Potato Head doesn't talk in this trailer at all.
No, there is.
No, that's Ham talking.
That's Ham.
That's Ham.
You're right.
That's John Ratzenberg saying
you're
that.
Right.
So I'm just wondering, like, what's he going to sound like? Who have they gotten to be?
And I'm assuming whoever they got, they're probably going to limit his.
I would think so.
Think
which
so?
is kind of, I think it's both appropriate because we lost Don Rickles, but also like it's kind of appropriate. It's kind of stinks because like he's a fun character and stuff like that.
Imagine if he took like a vow of silence.
That'd be great.
Or he's sick of talking about Mrs. Potato Head.
Or he's giving Mrs. Potato Head the silent treatment.
Yeah.
He refuses to talk until the end of the movie. That'd be great. All right, let's head over and let's get into, because it's our anniversary episode and you want to talk about wine instead of beer. So let's head over and let's do some wine reviews.
All right.
Welcome back to the wine segment. Instead of reviewing beer, Lauren's not a huge beer fan, so she decided that she would rather us review some wine this week.
Let me correct you. It's not that I'm not a huge beer fan. I prefer wine over beer. And since I'm helping you out this week, I said, let's do wine. Why do we have to keep doing beer?
I hate wine. It gives me like the worst headaches.
Oh,
but
no, you don't.
Before we talk about our wine, I gotta drop a line to our sponsor, Blowfish, which I'm going to need because wine does give me such a massive headache. If you, like me, are affected by the scourge of the wine hangover, you can head over to forhangovers.com. Use the promo code SMBFish to get your 15% off of the miracle cure. The way it works is you get it in the mail, then you put it in your medicine cabinet, then you get a hangover. Then you take that shit out, drop 2 tablets into 8 to 12 ounces of water, let it dissolve, drink it down, and your hangover starts to go away. So don't forget to use our promo code SMBFish. All right, Lauren, before we start reviewing our wines, though, we do have an Indie Pod spotlight that we got to get through. And these are people you actually know.
Do I? And do I like them?
No, you're going to have to tell everyone after we listen to them.
What's up? I'm Austin.
I'm Chrissy.
And we have a movie podcast.
Yes, we do.
It's called
So I Married a Movie Geek.
What's it about, Chrissy?
It's about marrying people who are movie geeks and then watching movies that you've never seen before.
That's true.
I know.
We've even got reviews.
We do?
Like, they seem to be having fun, but I sure wasn't.
Bummer.
How about I've never heard a podcast get so sidetracked?
They probably need a shock top.
Or this is like watching someone else's home videos when they think it's so funny, but we're not in on the joke.
Come on over. I'll show you my wedding.
Doesn't this sound amazing, guys? You should be listening.
Get on board.
We're on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, SoundCloud. Just search us. So I Married a Movie Geek. We're there.
We're a little extra.
Let's hang out. Talk movies.
Yay!
Yay!
All right, so that is Justin and Chrissy over at So I Married a Movie Geek. I was actually just on there for the 1987 movie draft. I didn't win. I didn't even come close to winning.
Sorry. And by the way, I do love them.
Yes, there you, so you do love. You've actually met them in person, in the flesh.
I have.
In real life. Justin's a producer for like big time TV shows. Were you a little starstruck when you met him?
No.
Were you just like slightly like I might leave Dave and just have like a threesome with them, like just start living and with them and be married to them? No.
No.
That's good. All right, polyamory, not up your alley.
No,
Check.
not my thing.
But So I Married a Movie Geek, they are absolutely hilarious. I love listening to them bicker back and forth each and every week. And then they have guests on all the time when they do their fantasy movie drafts. So there's either a topic or a year, and contestants come on from all different other indie pods, and they draft their dream list, or what they hope's their dream list.
Right.
So many arguments go on. So much fun is had while we do those. So make sure you check out So I Married a Movie Geek anywhere that you can find podcasts. And if you are enjoying their podcast, please make sure you leave them a 5-star review. Do the same for us if you're liking us too. All right, Lauren, we have wine to review.
We do.
All right. Why don't you tell everybody about the black box wines we're reviewing?
So, like Dave mentioned, we do have black box wine. Yes, box wine. It is a thing now, and as long as you're getting something a little smaller, fancier, such as black box, it's socially acceptable
Well,
now.
they even advertise on the side of here that they make 3 boxes, like they make 3 XL boxes now. Like they make massively sized boxes, but their whole idea is that box wine doesn't have to be bad. And they even
not
tell
only
you
not bad, but you don't have to be white. You don't have to be like white trashy when you don't feel like you're white trash when you're drinking it.
No, because it's not in like one of those cheap white, boxes and stuff like that. Like it comes in this sleek black box with beautiful bold lettering, and they even tell you right there it's premium, because everything that tells you that it's premium has to be legit. They put it on the package. Come on now.
Absolutely.
But no, these wines actually are really good. So why don't you tell everyone about the one you're drinking?
So I have a Pinot Grigio from California.
Or as Jay would say, a Pinot Grigio.
Pinot Grigio.
Grigio?
Grigio. Right.
Yosemite.
Pinot Grigio 2017 was a good year, right? All right.
For those people who don't know, Pinot Grigio is a white or a red wine.
Right. And the white wine is normally very smooth. It's a very light taste, more like for your spring, summers. You want to pick up white Pinot Grigio.
Or with white spaghetti sauce, with Alfredo sauce, and with chicken or fish.
True. Dave likes to cook with my white wine.
I do. Yeah,
We have cooking wine.
There's no real alcohol in that cooking wine, though. It's not for reals.
Right. But when you cook with wine or any alcohol, you are reducing it, and it's killing, like all the alcohol is coming out of it. You're not going to get drunk eating your bowl of pasta with white wine in it, Dave. It cooks all the alcohol out, which is why kids are allowed to eat things that are,
it depends how much vodka you
stuff.
put in your vodka sauce.
Right, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so the Pinot Grigio, it has aromas of pear and honeydew. And then you can taste the great, juicy, airy flavors of the apples and the citrus. And again, it is delicious. Oh, and so the box that we have is enough for about 3 glasses of wine. And the alcohol by volume is 12.5% for my white wine.
All right. And I am drinking the Black Box Premium Wine, Cabernet Sauvignon. This is a Chilean wine from 2017. It has dark, fruity, rich aromas. It has a deep, lush body, and it finishes off with some soft, long, and lingering notes of berry.
Are you tasting all those berries?
Dude, not really.
Nah.
I'm not like I can pick out flavors and aromas and things that are going on in beer. When it comes to wine, I was just like, yeah, that's a red wine.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's dark.
I'm one of those people who go to wine tastings. I'm like, this is good.
This tastes good. Yeah.
Am I tasting
Are you
it?
tasting? Are you tasting the pears?
Yeah, are you spitting that out into the wine bucket?
No, bitch, I'm googling this shit down.
No. I pay $12. I'm going to get $12 worth of wine. Or if you do wine tasting out in California, you pay about what, $40 for a wine tasting?
That was what we paid.
That was ridiculous.
Yes. So with this, I mean, I'll be honest with you. First off, it boasts that this has won 50 gold medals from Wine Enthusiast magazine since 2004.
Wow.
So they've been setting the world on fire for quite some time. Now they're nationally distributed. This is 13% alcohol by volume, so it will get you quite fucking drunk just off one of these little boxes that we have. And we do have the personal little boxes that are about, like Lauren said, 3 glasses of wine each. This is probably one of the better red wines I've had in like a long time. It's a little, for me drinking.
I wasn't sure because their first taste was like, whoa.
So that's my problem with wine. Like my first, I have to drink it for a little while before like I start getting comfortable with it.
Okay.
Like my first couple sips are always like, whoo, woo. You know, like it's this one. It's very alcohol heavy. Like you could just smell it. The second I poured it, I was like, oh, good. And it's always just like it just overpowers my palate. Like at first, so I have to like take it easy with it and ease myself into it. Like a big cock. You know, you just got to like take it.
Oh boy,
you just got to take it in strides.
Wow.
Take it in strides.
And Dave, also, you didn't let your, you're supposed to pour the wine.
Let it breathe.
Let it breathe.
Yeah.
Let it sit for a couple minutes or so.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. Yeah, no, I just want this over with.
You did this all wrong.
I want this over with. I want to get back to beer.
You're braver than me because you know me. Oh, you got to just taste the whiskey. Get used to it. Taste bourbon. Get used to it. Me, what I do, I take one sip of it. I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
This is
cut off my tongue.
As far as wines go, I would say that these are pretty top notch and they are affordable options where like, you know, usually if you want like a pretty decent wine, it's going to be about at the very minimum, like $20 per bottle. This is a boxed wine, personal wine, $6.99 per one of
which
these.
You figure
if
you're going out to dinner, you're probably paying about $7-8 for a glass of wine. So
absolutely.
In this nice little sleek box, it gives you 3 glasses of wine.
Price wise, it's worth it.
Yes.
For me, this is the only wine I'm going to drink probably for like the next month. It's just so hard for me. It really does. It gives me a headache and it makes me super handsy. I don't know. It gives me a different type of drunk than drinking beer or whiskey does. Like,
oh my.
Yeah, I usually get like pretty relaxed drinking beer or whiskey. When I drink wine, like I get like super like I feel like I'm floaty and I'm just like ooh and like
you're sexy. You're
I'm really into myself. Like I'm just like.
And when he says handsy, he's not talking about like touching me or anything.
No, I'm totally talking like myself. Like I'm rubbing my thigh a little bit, you know. Like if I'm laying there and I'm laying in like my weird way where my arms cross across my chest, like I do, I just kind of like flick the nipple, just a little bit.
Yeah, because normally when I drink wine, I'm opposite. I don't want to be touched. I just want to sit down with my blanket, watching some movie or TV show so I can cry.
So you can cry, yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm doing. I'm normally what I'm doing when I'm drinking wine.
I don't need any performance enhancement, substances for me to cry. It just happens.
Happens for you.
I almost cried during the Toy Story trailer, for Christ's sake.
Oh, Jesus.
All right, let's head over and let's get into our top 5 list, which is for our anniversary. We're doing our top 5 movie couples. And the only caveat in this was that they had to be romantically linked. So,
and I needed to clarify that because I'm like, oh boy, there's a lot of couples. And Dave's going to bring up like these 5 couples and be like, they're not romantic. Oh, we never said establish rules and they were best friends or daddy and daughter. Blah, blah, blah.
I'm never that rough on you with rules. Only with Jay.
Right.
All right, we've come to our top 5. Me and Lauren are going to be doing our top 5 movie couples. And the only caveat we did was, of course, as I said in the last segment, just that they had to be romantically linked. And obviously in a movie. So, Lauren, I'm going to let you go first here. And I get the feeling like we are going to have vastly different lists.
Yeah, I was going to say probably different lists. Maybe 1, maybe 2. No, I think at least 1 the same.
All right, 1 the same. We'll see how we do. All right, let's start with yours. Your number 5. Who's your number 5?
All right, I think you're going to be shocked by this one because I don't think you were thinking about it for me. Gerard Butler and Hilary Swank, Jerry and Holly, P.S. I Love You.
I wish I had someone dead telling me what to do.
There's absolutely no way I'm doing this.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
I figured this would be on your list. I thought this would be way higher on your list.
No,
you love that movie.
I do love that movie, which is so when we were talking about it, I had to think of some of my top 5 romantic comedies. Not all of them made them in there because not all the couples I enjoyed as much. But
why not Hilary Swank and Jeffrey Dean Morgan?
From what?
From this movie.
Oh, from the same movie. That's right. Because yeah, she got it because the entire movie was surrounded by Jerry, or who, Gerard Butler played Jerry.
P.S. I love you.
He suddenly passes away, and now he knew his wife, Holly.
He had cancer, right? So it wasn't like unexpected. It's just they do a time jump and he's dead.
I don't think, and I wanted to double check on it, but I don't think they actually said what he eventually passed away from.
But the reason that they
it was
are
just suddenly
a couple that you would like to list.
He was dying.
What makes them on this list? What puts them here? Like what makes them better than so many other movie couples?
First off, he's handsome. He's Irish.
Not a good actor anymore, but yes, handsome.
He's not, no. But he
Geostorm.
Right. That was the movie he was in. But he knew that his wife, obviously they both knew he was dying, and she wouldn't be able to get on without him, at least not for a little while, because she would have been stuck in her own head. I can't do this without Jerry, blah, blah, blah. So he took the time out while he was dying to make these totally crazy plans to make sure that she was eventually going to be okay, to the point where it led her to one of his best friends back in Ireland to eventually probably get together.
Right. Okay. All right. So
they were adorable.
It's I guess for you then, it's really just her reaction to the loss of the love of her life, and the reaffirming that he is the love of her life throughout those letters and stuff like that.
And it's a movie that makes me cry.
It does.
Almost every time, especially when she plays over his voicemail over and over again.
My number 5 is one that makes me cry, and it does it in the first 5 minutes of this movie.
Oh.
It's Carl and Ellie in Up.
Don't you know it's an exclusive club? Only explorers get in here. Not just any kid off the street with a helmet and a pair of goggles. Do you think you got what it takes? Well, do you? Yeah. All right, you're in. Welcome aboard.
Oh, I didn't even think about them, but yes.
I love this couple because it is that case of what one lacks, the other complements, right?
Yeah.
Carl is a very introverted person. He's kind of like this shy kid and stuff like that. But when he meets Ellie, someone who is into the same things as he is, she's a much more in your face,
louder about it, right,
and bombastic and in your face, and it gives him the permission to be that way with her. And then just that whole thing of them together, where she goes off to work, he goes off to work and sells balloons, and just this beautiful life that they had together.
This plan on what they're going to do,
that plan, and when all of that is gone. And of course, we get, the very sad off-screen death of Ellie. But just, Carl's face just screams of it, because even as an old man, because we do see Carl as an old man while Ellie's alive, there's still life in him.
And right.
There's still life in him. And
she couldn't make it out the hill because she was so old and she was dying.
It's just, it never, I don't think anything has ever visually displayed love in the way that scene could.
And no movie could ever make a room filled of adults just burst out crying within the first 10 minutes.
I was crying. I don't think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think I cried in that movie again until later on when he's fighting Mr. Muntz.
Yeah.
And he basically cries out to Ellie when the house is being destroyed and stuff.
Right.
And then I remember getting super sad at the end. Not sad, I guess like happy tears.
Yeah.
When after everything's done and he's happy with the little boy, and it goes and it just shows that Ellie landed in their happy place. Like she made it there. Like her spirit can rest, or Carl can move on. Whatever he set out to do, he can move on with his life. The motherfucker's dead now. I'm sorry.
Right.
But he didn't make it. But yeah, I that is why that makes it on my list, because just it's so perfectly visually displayed what love should look like.
Okay.
So what is your number 4, Lauren?
So number 4, I picked Tina Fey and Timothy Oliphant, who played Wendy and Horry in This Is Where I Leave You.
We were so in love, Jen. And now he's alone. He's like permanently alone.
When Barry is just...
I will never love Barry the way that I loved Hori. And I will never love anybody else like that. Ever. I would not do that to Hori.
I
love that. Yeah. Okay.
They were totally together.
Right.
The only reason why they couldn't stay together was because Hori they both were in this terrible car accident together.
And he has brain damage.
He has brain damage. He was obviously violent, couldn't be around Tina Fey anymore. They couldn't continue. They couldn't move out of the little town that they grew up. But then when she came back in town because of the father's death, they obviously got together. They remembered everything.
And there's always like a sadness there though when you see Rory, right? Like there's because
Hori.
But there's always just like a sense of like it's unfinished.
Right. And obviously the movie wasn't really about Tina Fey or Timothy Oliphant's relationship.
No, well, it's about the dark secrets of every family.
Right. They had a very small role in that movie, or at least smaller, but I went with them. Of all the couples I could have chosen in that movie, I went with them because I love them so much.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. My number 4 is Jack Twist and Ines Del Mar, Brokeback Mountain.
You are too much for me, Ines. You son of a horse and bitch. I wish I knew how to quit you. Then why don't you?
Wow. I never saw that movie, so I can't comment.
All right. So first off, it is the first and most prominently displayed gay relationship. There's been others. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's the first of its kind.
Right.
But it is the first movie that
got people talking.
That really put it in the forefront in this way. It wasn't side characters that were having a gay relationship, right? It was this, these guys and their secret, gay relationship with each other. But it wasn't that. It was just like this risque gay relationship about two closeted men discovering, they loved each other.
Right.
Like there was love there.
Right.
And and just the confusion that the world they live in added to their relationship made it like almost more powerful, because even though they didn't quite get it, they couldn't stop it.
Okay.
Either. It was just pure natural instinct to be with that person. And obviously there's the great scene of, why can't I quit you? That scene alone is just like they wrestle with the idea that they're gay, but they love each other.
Right.
And, eventually one of them does eventually just want to be together, just wants it. And the other one doesn't, or can't, or can't see himself.
Can't accept it.
Can't see himself in that, because they're both married. They both have wives and everything like that. So it's like, man, it probably speaks more volumes to people who are gay and have had to go through similar things.
Yeah, absolutely.
But watching it, it's just like it just perfectly shows that like you can't always control who you love. Right. So I did really enjoy that one. All right, what's your number 3?
My number 3, Pete and Debbie, played by Leslie Mann and Paul Rudd. This is 40.
What are you doing?
I need you to look at something in my butt.
Why?
I think I got something in there, and I'm not limber enough to see. I need you to look at it, all right? I think I might have like a anal fissure or a hemorrhoid or a worm or something.
What are you doing with your phone?
I'm trying to take pictures of it so I can compare it to something on Google.
Can we just keep just a small shred of mystery in our relationship, please?
Look, I saw you have 2 babies, okay? Seriously, I need you to get up all in that.
I do not want to investigate your anus.
It's payback time.
Okay.
That is the most realist couple in any movie.
That is
portrayed as any
that's a
couple.
Fucking that's a fucking real that's that's real shit.
Right. Real things are happening.
They were also in Knocked Up
together, right? Absolutely.
As the same characters. So
but yeah, I love them because again, I feel like of all movies to portray a couple who have been together for so long,
that would be an honorable mention for me. I like that.
Okay. Raise kids, have a house that they can barely afford anymore. Maybe they're trying to sell it in this case to buy a bigger house.
My favorite scene is stand up. Let me see the poop. You've been in here for 10 minutes. Let me see the poop.
Yeah. Or even when he's like spread eagle.
What's this bump?
What is this?
It's true, yeah.
And even like something as funny and like, they go away for the weekend and they have brownies, pop brownies. Let's eat this pop brownie.
Right.
Okay. And now they're enjoying themselves. But then like, Sunday night, Monday morning comes along, shit. It's back to the real world.
Right.
And even when they gang up together on that little boy who is dissing their daughter.
Fucking little Tom Petty.
But I love them. And it's hard to not love Paul Rudd.
Well,
anything.
But I think what I like about this is like, it just shows like that when you are married.
Right.
Like boundaries fall, and over time, more boundaries fall. Like,
absolutely.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Look at my asshole. What's this bump?
Yeah.
And it's like, there's a lot of the stuff that goes on in this that we're not there yet.
We're not.
we're not pooping in the same room as each other.
We can talk about the bumps on our butts,
right?
But we're not going to make you see.
Or the krang that was growing on my neck, which was removed successfully.
Which makes me throw up, so I didn't want to look at it, even though you're like, look at this.
No, I didn't. I put Band-Aids on it so you wouldn't have to see it.
That's true.
But it's like that familiarity and stuff like that. But also, like, shit gets stale. You have to grow with each other. You have to make each other grow, too.
Yeah.
At the same time, where it's like, I also love the line, like, I keep getting worse looking and he gets better looking.
Oh my God, it's so true. And then she has to go out and feel good about herself. So she goes out with her young coworker,
right,
her employee, and they have fun with a bunch of like younger hockey players.
The hockey players. That's the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the Philadelphia Flyers they go out with. There's Claude Giroux there, and
I don't know who was there.
And Hartnell was
just
there.
Just some guy, and he took out his front teeth and
put it back in, and maybe we can talk.
Right.
All right, Lauren. My number 3: Hermione Granger and Ronald Weasley.
They would totally. They didn't make it to my list.
He's using you.
How dare you! Besides, I can take care of myself.
Doubt it. He's way too old.
What? What? That's what you think?
Yeah, that's what I think.
You know the solution then, don't you?
Go on.
Next time there's a ball, pluck up the courage and ask me before somebody else does. And not as a last resort.
So I did this on purpose. Number 1, I name Hermione first in this couple because I realized as I was listening I was like, oh man, I was listening to Guy first because obviously I'm going to see myself in the Guy role in most of the relationships and stuff like that. But for this one, that's the stronger character.
Absolutely.
Hermione's the stronger character. So I list her first.
Right.
And her bravery counteracts Ron's cowardice.
Yeah, normally more. She's usually braver than Ron.
And it's this love that like it grew out of friendship, right?
Right.
Like they were friends first, and they didn't even realize that they had a thing. Well, Hermione, emotionally more mature than Ron, realizes that she does have a thing for him long before
but
he
Ron
realized.
Didn't notice, right?
Until jealousy rears its ugly head.
Absolutely.
And she's dancing with Kronk.
Kronk, yep.
Yeah. She's dancing with him, and that's kind of like when Ron's like, I'm not okay with this. I don't know why I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay with it. But I love their relationship and the way it grows and stuff like that, because by the time we get to the Deathly Hallows, they are they're just partners almost. Like it's not so much Ron and Harry anymore. It's Ron and Hermione going off and doing their things, and Harry's just kind of there off on his own.
Yeah.
So I like that, because that's kind of like what happens in relationships. You find someone, and when it goes on long enough, you lose other people.
Yeah.
But it's the natural progression of things. Your tribe grows smaller and more intimate. All right. What is your number 2, Lauren?
Han and Leia from every Star Wars movie. Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford.
I love you.
I know.
I love them so. Obviously, Star Wars, and they have we had a wedding cake with them on it.
Yeah.
I love you. I know.
Yeah.
They have this relationship where obviously they love each other and they can be together. It's all great. It's fun. Sometimes he gets on her nerves, but they can also be worlds apart and they can still connect with each other.
Okay.
When Han dies, Leia feels it.
All right, my number 2.
All right.
Obviously, I'm staying mum on yours for a reason.
Right.
My number 2, and you may not get this one because you don't watch old movies that much,
right?
But it's kind of like Han and Leia. It's Rhett Butler and Scarlett O'Hara.
Yep, I don't know any of them. Tell me, what movie are they from?
Gone with the Wind.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Red, you go. Where shall I go? What shall I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Yep, never seen it, never heard of these characters. Please tell me all about them.
So I absolutely love their relationship because she is the silver spoon in her mouth, born rich girl in the South, post-Civil War and stuff like that, or during Civil War.
Okay.
Even.
Is he the dirty old scoundrel?
He is a scoundrel. He
Okay.
is very much like Han Solo. He is a
Okay.
scoundrel. He is part of the military, and he humbles her in just a perfect way, where every time she gets a stick in her ass over something,
Right.
he's there to humble her.
Okay.
And just their back and forth and their retorts to each other, to me, it just feels so right that like opposites do attract. Like
Right.
there are times where opposites do attract, and that is 100% the case with Scarlett and Rhett Butler. But also, the story doesn't end with these two together. You know,
Oh.
it ends with, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Like Scarlett,
Whoa,
goes too far.
Whoa, spoiler alert.
For a movie from the 1930s. You know, but it just ends with Rhett Butler walking away. It's kind of like an I love you, I know moment where she's throwing herself at him and he's like, I don't care.
Oh my God, that's so sad. I never want to watch that movie.
I don't care.
That movie's also like 5 hours long.
4 hours long.
Yep, no interest in watching that movie.
It's one of the best movies ever made.
Maybe
you
one
really
day.
should watch it.
Can I watch it with the commercial so it's 8 hours long and I just
no.
keep an entire day of just watching one movie?
One movie? No. All right, what is your number 1, Lauren?
All right, my number 1. I'm thinking you're probably going to guess it because it's from my favorite movie ever. Kat and Patrick from 10 Things I Hate About You, played by Julia Stiles and
Heath Ledger.
The greatest Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. You'd be like heaven to touch. I wanna hold you so much. At long last love has arrived, and I thank God I'm alive. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you.
I knew this would be on your list. I didn't expect it to be number 1, but I knew it would be on your list.
I love them. Okay, so be a, I don't know, 15, 14-year-old girl in Trenton watching this movie and you're like, God damn, life is great.
Just don't be a 15-year-old girl watching this movie. Be 15 years old and in Trenton, period. You don't even need to watch this movie. What a terrible place to grow up.
It wasn't that bad. But like,
might as well grown up in West Baltimore.
Jesus. But yeah, they have your typical late 90s, early 2000s rom-com movie with teenagers. The guy is bet that...
Right, there's a bet that's involved.
Right, and in this case, it wasn't really a bet, but it's like, listen, man, I'm going to pay you to take this girl out so I can date her pretty sister.
Well, I mean, it has some
blah, blah,
basis
blah.
for a good story, being as the original story was written by, Bill Shakespeare.
Right. That old guy.
That
guy, you might have heard of him.
He's written a few things, yeah. But... yeah, I do like, this is one of my favorite like little rom-coms and stuff like that. I love the way he wins her over more so than I love their relationship. I love when he
wins her over multiple times because obviously she is a tough cookie.
She's a shrew.
Crack.
She's a shrew. Yeah.
Right?
I love you, baby.
Oh my God.
And if it's quite all right, I need you,
one of the best romantic scenes from any movie ever. And one day we're going to do a cocktail about this movie, which is basically us
next year.
just chugging beers and taking a shot.
I also love the moment that they kind of like, he kind of like falls for her. He takes the bet and then he goes to the party and she starts dancing on the table and she smashes it. Like, it's when she allows her guard to go down
right.
that he realizes there's a human being inside here and he wants to get to know that person more. And it's up to him to bring it out.
It was not only that part, but also the scene while she was in Patrick was in detention and she breaks him out.
Look at these.
By flashing her teacher, which is obviously inappropriate now to do. It's weird.
It was inappropriate then.
Probably.
All right. I like this. This is a little bit too like teen romance.
I know. I'm sorry.
Because if you ask me, do they get married in the end? No.
Probably not.
Ends.
No.
She goes off to an all-women's college.
He bought her a pretty cool guitar at the end, and she totally goes to college. He stays in California.
Yeah.
Not doing anything.
Oh, he's dead now, so.
Oh, stop it. That's not what happens to Patrick Verhoeven.
All right.
Jesus.
My number one
Obviously.
was your number two. Han Solo, Leia Organa. Leia Organa hyphen Solo in the later trilogy.
Yeah.
Han, we need you.
We need.
Yes.
Well, what about you need?
I know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Probably don't.
And what precisely am I supposed to know?
Come on. You want me to stay because of the way you feel about me?
Yes. You're a great help to us. You're a natural leader.
No. That's not it. Come on. Come on.
You're imagining things.
Am I? Then why are you following me? Afraid I was going to leave without giving you a goodbye kiss?
I just assumed it was a Wookiee.
I can arrange that. You can use a good kiss.
I love these two as a couple because, again, it just like Rhett Butler and Scarlett O'Hara, it is the opposites attracting. They are both extremely charismatic individuals, both extremely headstrong. One, you can say, is socially dumb as a brick, which is Han. And Princess Leia, she is everything. She's warrior. She is politician. She is a leader personified, especially by the time we get to the newest trilogy. And they perfectly complement each other because he's got a dumb plan for everything and she's just bold enough to go along with that.
Yeah, she backs him up with it and then corrects it.
But she makes it work. She makes it work.
Right.
But, obviously the scene that comes to mind most, it's actually twofold between these two. It is the I love you, I know scene, but more so than that, it's when he wakes up in Jabba's palace, right?
Right.
Like, you feel that she's been out there looking for him. But then we get to the new trilogy, and they both separated. They both had to go their separate ways to deal with the loss of Ben in their own way.
Right.
They each had to basically throw themselves into their work, and he's always been a reluctant general. He's never wanted to be a military leader. He's left the military because of the roles that it put him in. It's just not him.
He's not a soldier to follow the rules.
He has to make his
own thing, right?
And she had to lead something. She had to have a fight. She had to have something to fight for.
Right.
And she wasn't willing to fight for her marriage. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. They weren't willing to fight for each other. But when they see each other, they immediately are enraptured with each other again.
Right. And it's pretty obvious that neither of them two
never
strayed from each other. They've always loved each other.
Well,
there's
a lot of time alone with Chewbacca. We don't know fully what the relationship between Han and Chewie is.
Chewbacca obviously has his wife and kid. We saw it in the Christmas special. Don't try to be weird about this, okay, David?
We don't know if he's ever seen them again after that. What a terrible husband. But anyway, Chewbacca is. He would not be on this list.
Well,
but,
you make this life commitment to Han.
But no, it's that hug that they have in The Force Awakens. It's probably the only time in this new trilogy where you see Leia weak, other than when she was physically weak from getting hurt, but where you see her emotionally weak because she just kind of like slumps into Han's arms and stuff like that.
Well, and that's
while insulting him, same old jacket. No, new jacket.
Yeah.
You've done something with your hair.
But that's their relationship. But like I said, even when Ben kills Han, spoiler alert.
God, that scene makes me cry.
Like, she feels her son not only killing someone, but killing Han and also killing himself. But Right. Killing Han is a big thing. And now he's gone. Like, there's no coming back. There's no more.
No, they made sure he's gone because they threw him down a hole, then they blew up the hole.
Right. You can't just kill him and see his body and then see Chewie in the background. Probably carrying Han. Was he carrying Han back on the... No, he totally fell into that big hole, and then eventually it all blew up.
But I've just always loved the relationship enough to like see that in our relationship.
Right.
Where you're not the most diplomatic of us. That's just first off.
What?
I am clearly the more diplomatic of us too. Like when you have burned your bridge with every customer service person on the phone, I then have to come in and be nice cop, and then they're like, oh, thank God, a reasonable person to talk to. But then I have a leg to stand on because I go, I could put you back on with my wife. No, it's all right. We'll do what you need.
I know what I'm doing here, damn it.
Where I see that in us, because I am very much obviously like the outgoing person who hates playing by the rules. Like,
right.
I'm just terrible at it. And you very much put me in a place and in a line where it's like I'm comfortable enough to go outside and play outside the rules, but you're always like, you gotta get back in here.
We didn't sneak on a boat in Baltimore, just saying.
Yeah, no, that was all you. I had to follow drunk you sneaking on that boat.
Remember this, people.
As I'm feverishly looking around like, all right, no security cameras. No one's gonna see this. No one cares.
One day we're gonna get our summons for this.
Anyway, that is gonna do it for our episode tonight. If you have any other movie couples that you think we left off of our list, reach out to us on Twitter at SuperMoviePod. Let us know who they were. You can reach out to Lauren on Facebook. Just search Lauren Vizzini. You'll find her on there. You'll find Super Movie Brothers on there. Jay runs it over there. That's Super Movie Bros Podcast on Facebook. We are, of course, part of a network. We are a part of the Podfix Network. Both Super Movie Bros and So I Married a Movie Geek are on that. So make sure you head over to podfixnetwork.com. And you can check out ourselves and So I Married a Movie Geek there. We also have a sponsor. Our sponsor is Blowfish. So make sure you head over to forhangovers.com. Use the promo code SMBFish. Get 15% off of your order for this miracle hangover cure. And our Trailer Park intro music was made by Thomas Iannucci. You can find all of his music on Spotify and on iTunes. So make sure you give him a listen. Check it out. If you enjoy it, make sure you download a song or two. Every little bit of money that you give to him makes what he did for us worth it. And then I will be guesting on a podcast this week. You can check me out on the Brook Reading Podcast, where me and Melissa are going to sit down and we are going to discuss World War Z, which is a novel that I've loved for years, just reread. And then I, of course, like I do with all my friends and things that I love, made her enjoy it as well.
Or forced it on her.
I really forced
Whatever
it on her.
Was.
But anyway, I'm going to be guesting on there, and I'm very excited for that because I love that book, and there's so many things to digest there. So make sure you check out Brook Reading Podcast for World War Z, because I will be guesting on there. And then, of course, I do have another podcast. It is a Star Wars podcast. Obviously, Han and Leia being my number one. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. You can check me out over on Good Morning Mose Eisley. That is on every podcatcher that you find. But if you listen to us on Anchor FM, that gives us a little bit of a kickback. But you can also find us on iTunes and any other podcatcher. I want to thank all of you guys for listening tonight. Have a great night. Cheers.
Cheers.